Ever feel like building a website is this like big scary thing that you're just like supposed to do on your own?
Yeah.
Don't worry, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Today we're gonna grab our, metaphorical swords and shields. We're
Yeah.
gonna conquer this website world together.
Yeah.
We're gonna turn you into a pro at like assembling this dream website team, and no coding degree is required.
Yeah.
This is the deep dive. And we're using all the insights from our past episode 13, all about, selecting designers and developers. It's going to give you the tools to find your perfect team.
That's right. We're arming you with like all the knowledge to choose the right talent to bring that vision to life.
Because, let's be real, a website is often that first impression, right?
Yeah.
It's your digital storefront.
It is.
And if it's like clunky or confusing, people are hitting that back button faster than you can say SEO.
Exactly.
So first mission, finding the design ninja who can make your website shine.
Yes. And here's a golden nugget. A good web designer, they're like a detective, right? They dig deep. It's beyond just making things look pretty. They're figuring out your target audience. They're thinking about your brand. Like, what do you want your website to do? Are you selling, I don't know, handmade dog collars? Sharing your travel blog? Are you building a community for cat lovers? A good designer knows how to take all that and turn it into a website that not only looks good, but more importantly, it works.
Okay, so it's like way more than picking a cool font and just throwing in some stock photos.
It's true.
Got it.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm scrolling through a designer's portfolio, like totally wowed by the stunning visuals. What am I really looking for? Like, how do I separate the stars from the duds?
Here's a pro tip. Look for designers who are nailing the mobile-first approach. Seriously. A website that looks amazing on, a laptop but then falls apart on your phone, that's like having a storefront with a broken door.
Yeah.
Customers are just going to walk on by.
Ouch. That's a painful visual and probably a painful hit to your business.
Yes.
Okay, so it's got to be local friendly or it's a no-go.
Yeah.
What else should I be like watching out for when I'm browsing these portfolios? What are the red flags?
Yeah, don't just look at the pretty pictures. Click around, visit the websites they've actually designed. Do they load quickly? Are they easy to navigate? Can you find what you're looking for without getting, lost in a maze of menus? Yeah. Those are signs of a designer who gets it. They understand user experience, and that's crucial.
Yeah, it's like the difference between walking into a store that's just cluttered and you can't find anything versus like a well-organized boutique.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely spend more time and money in a well-organized boutique.
It's true. And while you're checking out those websites, pay attention to the details. Consistent branding, are there clear calls to action? Those little things, they show a designer who actually sweats the small stuff, which means they're probably going to care about your project too.
Mm-hmm. And I have to ask about this like footer check I keep hearing about.
Yes.
Is that a real thing?
It is. It's like the secret handshake of the design world. Check the footer of the websites in their portfolio. Sometimes you'll find a link back to the designer's own site. Think of it as their own little design lab, right? If their own site is a hot mess, red flag.
Wait, a footer check? You're blowing my mind right now.
I know.
I never knew that. Okay, I'm adding that to my list of like must-dos. So we've got mobile friendliness, we've got user experience, attention to detail, the secret footer check. Anything else before we move on from this design world?
One last thing. Ask about their process. Do they use wireframes? Basically, it's like a website blueprint or mock-ups to show you how the site will look and function.
Yeah.
Do they actually believe in collaboration and feedback? Understanding their workflow, it helps you gauge if their communication style is going to work for you, how involved you'll be in the whole process.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is hand over your hard-earned cash and then be left in the dark wondering what's going on. Good communication is key.
It really is. You got it. Communication is like it's like the mortar that holds the whole thing together. Speaking of teams, let's talk about the other half of your website dream team, the developers.
Okay, so we're venturing from like the world of design into the land of .code.
Yes.
And I will be honest, my eyes kind of glaze over when people start talking like tech jargon.
I hear you.
Can we like break it down? How do I even know if a developer is legit? Like without needing to go get a degree in computer science.
Yeah. Think of it this way. The design is the blueprint for this awesome website, right? And the developer is like the master builder who makes it real.
Yeah.
Just like you wouldn't want a builder, cutting corners on your dream home, you don't want a developer using like sloppy code on your website.
Right. Makes sense. So how do we spot those master builders? Like what should I be looking out for?
First off, speed.
Okay.
I'm talking website speed.
Yeah.
In this age of instant gratification, no one is waiting around for a slow website to load.
Nope.
Seriously, if it takes longer than a couple of seconds,
Yeah.
they're gone. They're at your competitor.
I'm the queen of that. Like, if it takes too long, I'm out.
Yeah.
So how do we test for that? Like, what do I even...
Oh, it's so easy.
Okay, good.
Tools like Google PageSpeed Insights, that is your new best friend. Just pop the address in there, it's going to give you a score, and it'll show you if there's anything fishy going on. You don't have to understand all the tech stuff, just look for good scores. And if you're chatting with a developer, ask them about site speed.
Okay.
A good developer can tell you, well, here's why this site might be slow, and here's how I would have fixed it.
Right. It's like asking a mechanic to pop the hood and explain what's going on. I don't understand all the, like, engine parts, but I can get a feel for, like, do they know what they're talking about?
Exactly. Another thing to check, that mobile responsiveness that we were talking about.
Right.
Remember, your website, it needs to look amazing on phones, on tablets, on everything.
Yes.
So test out the websites on your phone. If it looks wonky, if buttons are impossible to tap, if the text is teeny tiny, that's a sign that they might not be prioritizing mobile-first development, and that's a no-no.
Big no-no.
Well,
okay, so we've got website speed, we've got mobile responsiveness. What about, like, their actual code?
yes.
Is there a way to, like, check that without having to be like, oh, let me read through all your lines of code here?
Yes. You can ask them if they use something called a version control system, like Git.
Okay.
Think of it like Google Docs for developers.
Okay.
It helps them keep track of all the changes. It lets them collaborate with other developers on code. They can even go back to an older version if something goes wrong. It's a sign of a developer who's organized. They write clean, maintainable code.
So it's like you walk into a chef's kitchen and it's a disaster versus you walk into this, like, pristine, organized kitchen.
Totally.
You know that chef with the organized kitchen is going to, like, deliver.
100%. And just like with designers, all right, communication is key. Do they use any project management tools like Jira, Trello, things like that?
Yeah.
Can they actually explain complex technical stuff in a way that even I can understand?
Yes.
And you are the queen of tech jargon confusion, remember?
You don't want to be left in the dark.
Right, because that's how the budgets blow up. That's how deadlines get missed.
Exactly.
And speaking of budget, that is usually the part that makes my heart skip a beat. Like, how do I even begin to know what is a reasonable cost for, like, website development?
It feels like a mystery. It really does. It's like I'm trying to plan a trip to, like, a foreign country where I don't speak the language.
Yes.
Like, how do I even know if I'm getting a fair deal?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a common fear, but it doesn't have to be a guessing game, though.
Okay, good.
Let's demystify those web dev costs, right?
Yes.
First things first, you gotta ditch the whole steal of a deal website for like a few $100.
Wait, really? But I've seen those ads.
Yeah.
Like, what's the catch?
Think of it this way, okay? Would you trust a surgeon who's offering like heart surgery at half the price of everyone else?
Probably not.
Your website, it's an investment in your business.
Yeah.
It deserves a skilled professional, not some bargain basement, hack job that's going to cost you way more later.
Okay, point taken. So let's talk real numbers then. Like, what's a good range that I should actually be prepared to spend?
For a decent mid-range developer, you're looking at hourly rates somewhere between like $40 and $80 an hour.
Okay.
If you go with like a fancy agency, they have specialized expertise, those rates, they could jump up to like $100 to $250 per hour.
Okay, yeah, those like super cheap quotes, they're sounding a little fishy right now.
Yeah.
But that's just the hourly rates, right? So how do I figure out the total cost? What all goes into that?
Great. So the total cost, it depends on how complex is the project, what kind of features are we talking about, how many rounds of revisions are you going to want.
Right.
A really basic site, like a few pages, that might take a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But like a complex e-commerce site, that could take months.
Okay, see, this is where I start to panic a little bit. It just feels like there are so many unknowns. How do I avoid, like, scope creep and those budget blowouts?
Communication. Communication is key. Before you sign anything, have a really thorough conversation with your developer. Make sure that they get your vision, your must-have features, and your budget. A good developer is going to work with you. They'll create a really detailed project scope and timeline so there aren't any surprises down the road.
So it's like building a house, right? You wouldn't start construction without those blueprints and a clear understanding of the costs.
Exactly. And just like with a contractor, you want a developer who's transparent, who keeps you in the loop every step of the way. Don't be afraid to ask for, regular check-ins, progress reports, things like that.
This has been such a crash course in website team building. We've covered everything from spotting those design red flags to decoding the developer jargon to like navigating the budget maze. But before we wrap things up, what's the one thing you wish more people understood about building a website?
At the end of the day, I think it really comes down to trust.
Oh,
You're inviting these designers, these developers into your business, into your vision.
yeah.
You're trusting them to take your ideas and create something real, something that reflects your brand and helps you achieve your goals.
So it's like any important relationship.
Exactly.
You need that foundation of like clear communication, respect, shared goals.
Yes, 100%. Look for a team that listens to you, that asks good questions, that genuinely cares about your success online. And remember, building a website. This is a journey, not a sprint. Find a team you can imagine working with for the long haul, who can, adapt and grow alongside your business as it changes.
This has been honestly incredibly eye-opening for all of our listeners out there who are feeling maybe a little overwhelmed by like the website world. What's the key takeaway you want them to remember?
This is an investment, not just an expense.
Okay.
Your website, it's a digital storefront that's working for you 24/7. It's reaching customers all over the world. Invest wisely in a skilled, trustworthy team.
Yeah.
And that website will pay off for years to come.
Couldn't have said it better myself. You've got the knowledge now. You can ditch the DIY website dread, assemble your dream team, and bring on the digital world, right?
Yes.
Look, there's a wrap for this deep dive. Happy website building, everybody.